Cool. I am live. All right. I'm going to wait until some people show up here before I start my spiel, I guess you want to call it. Good morning. Good morning. Cub Cadet, Seth Burgess. Morning, Wes. YouTube, hi. La, 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 la. Okay. So we're getting quite the group. Yep. All right. So I decided to do a live stream today because I was actually watching another YouTuber's video, and I figured I'd chime in on this and my thoughts about what is going on, and with the $12 billion in subsidies that are to be going to the American farmers. I personally will not receive anything. I do not grow corn anymore. I've walked out of the Farm Service Agency some 5 or 6 years ago, never to look back, because they could just kiss my ass. I'm not saying that everybody should walk out of the Farm Service Agency, but if you get brutalized like I did, you walk out of the Farm Service Agency. They have, hello, you fucker. There you go. Anyways, with that being said, okay, so we got $12 billion in farm subsidies that Donald Trump has allocated to be, basically dispersed throughout the agriculture community, as Zach said in his video on the, that some will go for new markets, some will go for research and other things like that. And there's going to be a vast majority that gets, divided up between the remaining farmers, like pork, dairy, corn, soybean producers, wheat, possibly cotton. I'm not sure whether he said cotton or not. It doesn't really matter. The problem with farm subsidies is if you have, okay, so if you have, I don't have a really good, if you have we could go with a chart, say, this is a chart, a circle chart there, and the whole thing is, $12 billion. Right down the middle is where you're going to cut your administration fees. Okay, so you got your administration fees to allocate this. This is the way the government works. Yes, a pie chart. That's the one, circle pie chart. Thank you very much. Morning in Lidditz, by the way. I've been there a few times. So Minnesota millennial farmer. He's a good guy. I mean, he's dedicated to what he does. He wants to make a living, and he, like I, absolutely think that farm subsidies are the death to the American farmer. He was talking about public opinion of farmers getting paid to do what we do. And he's younger than me by quite a few years, and he does not remember when a large portion of our income was farm subsidy. Now, when I say a large portion is farm subsidy, we used to have what you called a loan deficiency payment, LDP, or a buy-up. And that meant if you sold your corn and soybeans for, say, corn $1.75, and the cost to produce that corn was $2.30, the deficiency that the government would pay you would be from the $1.70 to the $2.30. And basically that was, just to keep the noose tight enough around your neck to let you know that you're going to die if you let the government go or whatnot. So that was just the way it was, in my opinion. Now, we used to get these disaster relief payments if we had a heavy drought. I remember getting a pretty good chunk of money for that. Back in the late 90s, we had some disasters there. But in the end, what did it do? It just paid down the debt that we had acquired from $1.75 corn and $3.25 soybeans. Years, seriously, $6 billion to administer? Oh, absolutely. If you don't believe that, you really need to open your eyes. I mean, you ever get a homestead rebate check? So you get your tax bill, your income tax bill, and you're like, holy shit, man, I gotta write this out. But if you own a home, you're entitled, here in New Jersey anyway, it was a homestead rebate. So you filled out your paperwork and you got your homestead rebate. Well, you got to check back. Well, you still gave them your income tax money or whatever it was, and then they have to give you the money back. It should have just been a line on your income tax. Do you own a home? Yes. Deduct $1,200. Yay, done. But no, it was, do you own a home? Yes. And then you had to go through this whole thing. Oh, your homestead rebate will be $1,200. Okay, so you send in your money, your 10, 15, 20, 30, $60,000 income tax bill, which I've had some of those in the past, which is ridiculous. But anyway, I can't say Trump has screwed farmers over. These are, you see, you have to go through growing pains when you're putting somebody in check. You know, when you have a kid and he does something, he gets away with it, and then the next time he does it, he gets away with it, and then the third time he does it, he gets caught, and you smack him, and you know, you kind of knew that it was the kid that was doing it, and you weren't, you know, you just had to really, you know, get a hold of it. It's harder to reprimand him on the third time than it is the first time. So kind of look at it that way. We've had president after president after president fuck us in the ass and have let the other parts of the world take us over. You know, basically, you know, we were the world's punching bag for many, many years. And now the world is like, hey, wait a minute. They can't be the punching bag anymore because we got a guy that's actually going to swing back at us. So this is what we're going to do. And we're going to hurt them where, you know, at the heart of their country. There's a lot of people don't realize that farmers are the heart of this country. Without us, you're all dead. I mean, the cities would die, you know, that's it. So just so they know, if you're if you're non-farm folk watching this, so it's, you know, hey, is it fun? No. Is it going to hurt us? Yes. Is $12 billion going to correct the problem? No. Will it help until the problem is solved? Possibly. I would hate to see the farm subsidies just come in and be a part of our income again. Like Zach was saying, that it was a part of our income. Well, you know, you kind of relied on it, and then it was harder to get off of it, you know. So you're used to getting that LDP payment so that you could pay down your fertilizer bill at the end of the year, because that's what it took to pay off the fertilizer bill. And then as the price of grain came up, the LDP, you know, loan deficiency payment disappeared, and then eventually it was all gone. So anyway, paying tax is a pain in the ass. It really is. So just go buy iron and sell it when you're old, and, you know, do whatever you got to do. But anyway, I've kind of lost the train of thought here. Other than the Farm Service Agency, I will not receive any of this money. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, God, I just totally lost what I was saying, but it doesn't really matter. The trade war isn't luck. See, this is the problem. This is the problem with America today. Everybody wants a quick, fast solution. You know, a quick, fast solution. So let's put it this way. If I took my Home Depot credit card, this one here that I have not activated, if I took my Home Depot credit card and it has a $25,000 limit on it, and I went and I paid $25,000 for a bunch of shit that I really didn't need, and I stored it in my basement or over at the farm, and I did whatever, and I'm like, yay, I got all this happy shit, you know, but then I have to pay for it. Well, $25,000 is a lot of money to pay for. So, you know, maybe you can understand this. It takes a long time to get that $25,000 paid down for shit that you didn't need. And that's basically what's happened here in the United States. So, but people in the United States, they want the president to say, okay, China, we're not going to take your shit, but you're going to take ours. And everybody's going to accept it. It doesn't go that way, because if you don't pay this card, you've got interest of probably 20%. I don't even know what the interest is on this card. You got to pay that down, and that's where the pain is. So, but anyway, doesn't even matter. You people will never get it anyway. Some of you will. But there's a vast majority out there that just don't. They just keep drinking the Kool-Aid from the galvanized container, you know, because they just can't figure it out. But you know, that's what makes some people different than others. And yeah, you do realize that the country you are trying to hurt, aka China, your country owes $1.3 trillion when they screw up your economy whenever they want. Well, no shit, Sherlock. We've been sold out to China for the last 20 years. It hasn't been something that just happened in the Obama administration, and China has stepped all over us. Now, why did China step all over us? Because it was free shit. They could send free shit here. They send it here for nothing. They could make it cheap. It's crap. It's garbage. Wow. Now we've got some real intelligent people on here. Great. I think that's probably hidden. It is, yes. Yep. Oh, by the way, Dexter Scott, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's good. Test. China will own Australia shortly. Also, government have sold us out. Yeah, our government is not for us. If you see these leaders that we've had in the past 30, 40 years or so, they go into office, they're just modest, income senators that didn't make a whole hell of a lot until the late 80s when they passed that amendment that gave them the right to give themselves raises, on their own. They don't have to go through any other litigation other than, hey, I need a raise. So all here. But what senator is going to say, no, I don't want a raise, and then like Obama, he was driving a Chrysler 300M when he became president. Now he's a multimillionaire. You don't do that on $450,000 a year as the president of the United States. So yeah, it's crazy. Oh, yeah. Let's see if we get some intelligence out of this. But this live stream is going all to shit. But anyways, yeah. So subsidies they're not going to do us any good. They're short-term solutions for a long-term problem. Get the trade under control. We do need to be building steel, making steel here. We need to build our own cars here. We need to, when Ford says they're going to stop making sedans and only focus on the Ford Mustang and SUVs and pickup trucks, that's ridiculous. When you go down the road and all you see is Toyotas, Hondas, and Hyundais, Kias, and all this stuff, and you wonder, why is it that they can ship those things from another country to here cheaper than we can build it here? Is it the unions? Is it the steel cost? What is it? What's going on here? There's something wrong. So I'm not smart enough to know what's wrong, but I do know that it is wrong that we can't produce our own cars here. Now, the funny thing is when you go to other countries, you see Fords and Chevys and Dodges and things like that in other countries, and they're not even cars that are produced here. But China makes 2/3 of the kids' toys in the country of produce. Yeah, I don't know. They build cars here, but the engineering jobs which pay well are not here. Well, that's true too. Not all. I know Toyota and Subaru are built here, but I don't know about some of the others. How is a country supposed to? Well, we have produced a bunch of people that don't want to work. They don't have to work, because when you just go down to the welfare office and say, you know what, I have a lazy eye, and then get welfare for the rest of your life, why would you want to work? It just doesn't work that way. I live on a bowl of rice a day. Well, that'll keep you. It worked for the Vietnamese fighting that war. They lived on a bowl of rice a day. So anyway, it doesn't even matter. Whatever happens with this subsidy, more than likely, only a very small percentage will be divided up between the however many farmers there are in this country. And, it isn't going to offset the price of, say, corn or soybeans. $12 billion. Let's face it, it isn't that much. It isn't that much. It really isn't. By the time you cut at least half of it away just to disperse it, because there's a lot of people in suits and ties that's got to get their share of that 12 billion. Oh, believe me, that's the way that shit works, So, yeah. And you ever donate to a cancer research fund or something like that? When you see, my sister died of cancer back in 2014, and then we had what we called the ambulance chasers, and they called all the time. Hi, this is so-and-so from the Red Cross. Don't donate to these assholes. They don't distribute your money where it belongs. They put it in their pocket. They only have to distribute 2% of that money. So when you have that little pink bow tie or bow, ribbon that you buy the little sticker for, it costs you $5, and they say it goes to cancer research to fight breast cancer. 2% of it goes to cancer research. And I hate to tell you, but I would never donate to that. I've said it in the past. If you know someone that has cancer and you've got $100 to give, don't give it to that stupid little cancer research thing. Hand it to the person that's got cancer. It'll do them more good than it will, say, the head of the Red Cross. We're talking billions of dollars. MetLife flies a blimp over our farm all the time. Actually, I haven't seen it this year, but it's moored over here less than 10 miles from here, maybe 20 miles from here. Yeah, it's all a scam. And just like the $12 billion, yeah, Donald Trump wants to give us $12 billion. $12 billion to all farmers in America, we'd be rich. What the hell? $1 billion. Okay. So 12 billion. If we all got $1 million each, that'd be what? Yeah, 12,000 farmers would get $1 million each. If I'm correct, 12,000 farmers. I'm trying to do math in my head. I've got a headache, but okay. So even if we got all $500,000 each, so then you've got what? 24,000 farmers that got that. So, you can just do the math right on down the line, but whatever. Yeah. Hydrogen peroxide kills cancer. Yeah, actually, I think you're right. Skin cancers of some sort, but it has to bubble to the surface. So you're pretty well fucked. And you're not going to pump hydrogen peroxide into your body to kill cancer. So that ain't going to work. You go and blow up. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. I have friends who spent 20 million to put in a crop. I don't think you have friends that's put 20 million into a crop. I'm sorry. That would be like, I don't know how many thousand acres that would be, but it would be in the tens of thousands of acres. I mean, I guess it's possible if you had 20,000 acres, 20,000 acres. No, it would be more than that. It would be more than that. So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I know what it costs to grow 200 acres of corn, and it's kind of ridiculous how much that is. But let's just face it: this money, they're just going to give it away. They're going to give it away. It's going to be misplaced. It's going to get disappeared. I'll give you a prime example. Back in 1998, I went into the Farm Service Agency, and I filled out all the paperwork. They were going to give me a bunch of money for I don't even know what, whether it was corn, beans, wheat, rye, or something. Well, corn, beans, or wheat. And it was about $4,000. It was a fair amount of money. I remember it. And I got this paperwork that, I never got the money. Let's put it this way. I never got the money, but in the fall, when I got my tax report or the papers for tax, whatever it is, 1099 W, whatever form, it said that I had gotten this money and I had to pay income tax on it. So I'm like, God, and I was married at the time. So I said to my wife, I said, what the heck is this? I don't remember getting that money. And she's like, well, let me look. And she goes back and she had very good bank records. I'm not as good as her when it came to bank records. I'm terrible, but she had very good bank records and we never received this money. So I called the Farm Service Agency up and they're like, well, the previous head of this office has been arrested. She gave the money to another. She gave the money to one particular farmer, like $90,000 he got that he wasn't supposed to get. But you have to pay the taxes on it. We will get you the money when this program gets more money funneled into it. Long story short, I never saw the money. I paid the taxes on the money, but I never saw the money. And that person died before they could prosecute him for taking the money, never had to return the money. Kind of ridiculous. So he died and she avoided jail. They raided her house and there was a bunch of money that she had spent in her house, in her office. There was a desk, there was furniture, a lot of furniture and stuff that she used money out of that fund to furnish her house. She no longer is at the Farm Service Agency. She should be in federal prison, but she is not. So, what do you do? What do you do when you have that stuff? So that kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. And, Yeah, you just can't do it. Better idea, all farmers never have to pay any taxes. Well, that'd be okay. Income taxes, I wouldn't mind that. But what are you going to do? That's severely unfair in that sense. I mean, it really is. I mean, you can avoid taxes. You don't, if you're smart enough, I mean, really smart enough, you can avoid taxes. It's not that difficult. Yeah, good idea. I would return to farming today. Yeah, yeah, right. Well, I mean, let's go this way too. All right, so you got the Minnesota millennial farmer, and maybe this is going to piss him off or not. I don't really care, but I will say this: the it's a supply and demand thing. All right, and it's just like any other business. If Ford puts out 200,000 cars and they only have 150,000 buyers for those cars, there's 50,000 cars that are going to have to be reduced in price to get them to go, to get rid of them. My dad's been looking at a new pickup truck for years. For several years, he's been looking. He's not in any hurry, but he found a Chevy or a GMC. It's a 2017 model, and they've knocked $30,000 off of this truck. I told him just go buy the damn thing. But they've knocked $30,000 off the price tag of that truck because it's a 2017 and the 2019s are coming out in a couple of months. So it's a supply and demand. So when you have farmers like Zach who are pushing their crop and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to get the highest yield possible, which we all want to do it. I mean, I do it too in my hay business. Unfortunately for grain farmers, I seem to have a business. I'm in a business that is it's a changing business. It's not really looking for small farms to get in. They're looking for big farms to supply, which is kind of the way the world is going. And it is expanding for me. It's not expanding for small guys that want to put 1,000 tons out there. As a matter of fact, one of the farms that I go to, they won't even talk to you unless you're going to produce 3,000 tons of hay. And that's a lot of hay. I mean, if you don't know what 3,000 tons of hay is, I can tell you it's a lot of hay. I don't have 3,000 tons of hay baled at this point yet. And I've baled a fair amount of hay. But it's the same thing. If Zach and everybody else like Zach that grows large numbers of acres was to either just leave something fallow. I like his radish idea. So if he took 50% of it, I'm not even saying 50%, 10% of his farm and said, you know what? This farm's not doing so well. I'm going to plant radishes on it. Nobody eats those. The deer do, but nobody else does. Just to break up compaction and give that soil a rest. If every farmer that did it did just 10% of their ground and left it fallow, you would see higher prices without any interaction with the government. The government would probably be like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? You got to plant this because if you don't, your people are going to be starving. There won't be a surplus. There'll be a deficit in grain, and that's exactly what we need: is a deficit in grain, no carryover." The United States has more. The American farmer has more power than they'll ever give themselves credit for. They're just too stupid to use it. Unfortunately, they're too stupid to use it. And anybody that's watching this is probably throwing a brick at the screen. But I'm telling you, if you're planting, say, 1,000 acres of corn and 1,000 acres of soybeans, and you can't set aside 200 acres to do something else with, oats. Oats are a cheap crop to plant. Something that isn't really used much, Sunflowers. Sunflowers pay a lot, actually. But just let it lay fallow, throw some radishes out in there, and then rotate that. Go ahead, shoot for the moon on your yield. Get 220 bushels to the acre. Just leave 10% of your acreage fallow for that year. Yeah, you'll see an increase in grain price. Because if you take however many farmers that are in this world or in this country that leaves 10% of their acreage fallow, you're going to see an increase in grain price because they won't have the surplus. It's just not going to be there. But you'll never, ever, 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 ever. No, this is where you're not thinking. You are drinking the Kool-Aid. Nathan C Marts, Nathan C Marts. I'm telling you, you won't go broke. You're going to be scared to death. All right, here it is. Here's a perfect analogy for this. When you have a dry spring, you put your grain, your crop in the ground, and then you have a really wet summer. What do you end up with? Light test weight corn, light test weight beans, smaller beans. But if you have a year that it's dry and you get rain at the right amount of time, you have a heavier test weight grain, it yields okay. A dry year will worry you to death. A wet year will bankrupt you. So if everyone, I'm not saying a few, I'm just saying if everyone was to leave 10%, 10%, 5%, give it an experiment, 5%. Just let it go. Let it go. Say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to grow that. 5%. You take 5%. We only have, a 3-day carryover in grain production from year to year. That's it. It's 3 days. You take 5% of those 3 days. Holy shit. That's a lot. 5%. 5% of the grain. It'll only take probably 1% less. 10 acres out of 1,000. And if everybody did 10 acres out of 1,000, or cut their fertilizer inputs down. Don't shoot for 250, 300 bushels. Shoot for 200. 200 bushels. That's even better yet. Plant all your acres. Plant them all. Go ahead, plant them. Just don't push it. Just mediocre crop year. That's what you ought to do. Well, 10% into the CRP land. Yeah, but that's a permanent thing. I mean, once it goes into CRP, then you're in bed with the government again. And, you got to mow it. It's time consuming. It costs you money. They don't pay you enough. Yeah. CRP is cutting back big time. Absolutely they are. They have been. When I was a kid, we had AC and CU acres, and we had the majority of our farm was in that. Not the home farm, but a lot of the places they were in these AC and CU acres. I brush hogged hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of weeds in the summertime with a 6-foot brush hog when I was a teenager, because it was all into those acreage. And then it went into CRP. They put them into CRP, some of these farms. Yeah, we got a few bucks. It wasn't worth it. Did it help? I don't know. I don't know if it helped or not, but it is what it is. But anyways, you know what? I think I need to get off of here and go back to my regularly scheduled program. Yeah. How's that pipeline nonsense working out down there? Don't know. They're still trying to put it through. Middleman is what kills the American farmer. Well, no. Yes and no. Of course, if you don't have a middleman, unless you're going to deal direct with your buyer, which has become quite difficult, you still need to deal with a broker. The broker gets his money, you get your money, the broker gets his money, and then it goes on to wherever it goes. So, no, I'm not cutting hay today. Yeah. Yeah, plow day is still on the horizon, just not over the top yet. There's a lot of things. There were some things that happened at the farm day that nobody's proud of, and they're more than likely not going to do that again for a while. And I don't know that I want the headaches of that. It takes some real shitty people out there to do things. Who's shutting me up now? No, Zach, nobody. No, you didn't miss anything. I was talking about you. Millennial farmer. I was just talking about your $12 billion farm subsidies and agreeing with you that they're not good. And they're only a short-term problem to a short-term fix to a long-term problem. Of course, I get off on a tangent because I got a lot of questions being asked of me. But I agree with you. I think that the $12 billion in farm subsidies are going to piss about half of it down a rat hole and misallocate the other half of it. And before you know it, we're going to get, I won't get anything, but farmers like you're going to get a check in the mail for $10 to $100,000 and be like, wow, I think I can pay my fuel bill, and I was also saying, like, farmers like you should, big farmers, any farmer, just put 10% of your ground into fallow, and you'll see, you will see an increase in price. It will. It's simple economics. It's supply and demand. Instead of shooting for the sky and yield, and everybody do it. We're all farmers. We know how it is. I'm as dumb as you are. I push my ground to get the most out of it. And when you get more hay, more grain, more anything, what happens to the price? It drops. I'm just as dumb as you are. And that's all I was saying. So, nothing bad. But no, I just think that it's simple. We don't have to deal with the government to control our own price. We need to get together and control our own price by either laying fallow ground, putting less fertilizer out, don't push the crop so much. Yeah, I know equipment's expensive, fuel's expensive. You still have to pay those bills. And it's hard to just say 10 acres to the side or 100 acres or 1,000 acres if you're doing 100,000 acres of ground. It's a lot. It's a lot to wrap your head around. And I like your radish idea. I think your radishes, if you were to put 10% of your ground into radishes in the worst parts of your grounds, they do have them. They do have great results with the radishes. I got a farmer cousin of mine down the road. He put a lot in and then planted corn after him on shale ground. And it turned his ground around, broke up that shale, that hard pan, and he actually has a decent crop of corn down there, especially for being as dry as it is. I was rather surprised that it worked as well as it did. But if you have really bad ground, throw those radishes out there. You won't be unimpressed with the results of them. But there's just no way that I or you or anybody else in the farm YouTube community could convince farmers to actually leave ground fallow or cut back on their fertilizer rate to bring down the yield, because less yield in a farmer's mind means less money in the end. We always want to build, grow more. The government is never the answer to our problems. We can only answer for our problems. The government is not there to give us $12 million. They are there to squander that money. I've got a lot of examples of it. Years ago, there was a program, we called it FEED. It stood for Farmers Feeding Excessive Amounts of Deer. And they allocated $250,000 to do studies and to get a company called White Buffalo out to shoot these son of a bitches. And what did they do? They put it into general funds, and all the Department of Environmental Protection, Division of Fish, Game, and Wildlife guys got new pickup trucks. We never saw a dime. Not a dime. So the government is not the answer. They're not going to be the answer. They may say they're going to make farmers great again. We've always been great. We've been great at what we do. That's why our prices have fallen. I mean, yeah, a trade war, a trade deficit, a trade war is really what we need to get the attention of the rest of the world to say, hey, we will not be your tread pad at the front door. We are not going to be that any longer. We are going to be competitive. We are going to charge you for your goods as long as you want to trade with us. It's got to be fair. And I like fair. I mean, you're not going to go to an NFL game and they've got the best players on this team and a bunch of girls on this team. Who's going to watch that? Well, maybe some sick people would watch it, but who's going to watch that? You want the two best teams to play against one another, and that's not fair. We have been stomped on, treaded on, beat on, bashed on, stomped in the mud, just neglected and abused for more years. Well, since the 1950s, farmers have been really trashed. That's just my opinion of it. I mean, it's crazy. And the cities, they just keep getting richer and richer and richer. They got plenty of food, cheap. That makes a happy population. If you look at any of these other war-laden countries in the world, what's the main thing that starts these wars? They're hungry. They don't have money for food. They don't have food. It's too expensive. So you get cheap food, you get it in there. Okay, there you go. I guess rant is over. But there's just no way that the government's going to correct this problem. I don't watch the NFL ever. I never have. I thought it was stupid. If I got time to sit in front of the boob tube, I could be making a YouTube video or something, And oil starts wars. Actually, yes, oil and food. Food and fuel. They'll start a war. The problem is now I'm not presidential material. Have you ever watched this channel? Yeah. Take on solar. They want to give you $900 an acre. Okay, they give you $900 an acre. Who's going to clean up the mess after 20 years? And are they going to give you $900 an acre for the next 20 years? I don't think so. They'll give you $900 an acre, and then you get $20 an acre for the next 20 years. And then what? Junk. I don't watch anything really on TV. I'll watch a movie. Greed starts wars. Yeah, greed, poverty, starvation. Yeah, solar is dead. Solar was explained as the lazy worker that shows up late, doesn't do his job very well, and goes home early. That's solar energy. That is true. Wind power is a better option. The best option was the option that they were really exploiting back in the 1930s, and that is hydroelectric. Well, if you don't know, the United States created the lying sand coons, as you put them, back in the 1950s when we taught them to drill for oil. Wow. Meeting with sexy women. Check the profile for a link. Wow. How many people are going to look at that? Anyway, yeah. So, I don't know. I think that farmers are their own worst enemy, and I think that the government is the second worst enemy for the farmers. Oh boy, sexy women, yeah, unobtainables is what I call them. They put their pictures on Instagram and stuff like that. You look at them, you're like, you know what? They're so full of themselves. Even if you did meet them, you wouldn't want to be with them anyway. Maybe for 10 minutes, I don't know. Hydro ruins fish habitats, so we can't do hydro. Well, unfortunately, the most efficient is hydro. It is. It just is, because the water never stops running. The wind blows all day and all night. The longest that solar can ever produce energy is 12 hours at the height of the summer. So no, solar is actually the most inefficient. At its height, it is 22% efficient. Wind is something like 70 or 80% efficient, because no, the wind doesn't blow low. That's why they build those towers like 300 feet high. The wind is up there. I'm not running for any presidential office. Believe me, they'd kill me. Yeah. I wouldn't even get it past the opening gate, Yeah, I was talking to a guy yesterday. I said, what would happen? What would people do if someone ran for president and won, and they didn't have a college education? I wonder when the last president was for the United States that didn't have a college education, because I don't know if there's a requirement for it. But I just was talking to somebody yesterday. I was like, you know what? If I was to run for president, I don't have a college education. I have life experience, which to me is more valuable than a college education. I can learn anything I want. If I don't know something, I can learn it. But I don't have to spend basically 6 years now, because a 4-year degree in today's society doesn't get you anything. I know scores of people that went to school for 4 years and they're like, oh, they need a master's. Like, holy shit. Oh, if I run for the Farm Service Agency Committee, I think I could probably win it. I've got enough property owners now. But do I really want to be on that committee with Doreen? I'd rather sit and eat Doritos than sit on a committee where I have to deal with Doreen. So, and when that woman threatened me, I should have filed a lawsuit against her, but she threatened me, and that was the end of it. I didn't need to ever go in there again. Hit the like button until it falls off. That's funny. Trade schools are the way to go this day and age. Yeah, well, it is, because as jobs are opening up, what did we just U.S. Steel opened 6 facilities now to produce steel? Yeah. Millions of jobs will open up when the baby boomers are retiring. They're in their late 60s to late 70s. That's where they are right now. So they are retiring or retired. The trouble with baby boomers is how many baby boomers were, even computer savvy and even could compete in today's job market, the way that the job markets have changed. Yeah, Ed Dietz. Let our NATO allies defend themselves or buy American grains and products. Send them grains, not money. America was sold out by farmers. Presidents taking money for personal gains from our competitors. Abso-fucking-lutely. How would that go over on CNN? One only farmer said, abso-fucking-lutely. God, they talk about that for at least a week. Doritos are delicious. Doreen is not. If you ever met Doreen, you would play Russian roulette until it actually went off. Yeah. I had to deal with her for several years. At first she was a nice gal. But then, as my grandmother would say, and don't take this the wrong way, there's a nigger in the wood pile. That's what my grandmother would say. Now, it doesn't mean that I hate black people or anything. It's just a saying that my 93-year-old grandmother would say when we're milking cows and something was going wrong. She'd say, sounds like there's a nigger in the wood pile. What's it mean? It means that something isn't right. So, but anyway, now if I was ever to run for president, they would find that video clip and I would be the racist of the year. Doreen, who is Doreen? Doreen, she runs the Farm Service Agency office. Yes, she runs the Farm Service Agency office. And the last conversation I had with her was heated. She asked me if I had signed up all of my farms. And I said, all the ones that wanted to be signed up are signed up. And she told me that if she found out that if she found out that I had farms that were not signed up with the Farm Service Agency, that they would be coming after me, suing me for all the money that I had gotten from them for the past 10 years. So I was like, guess what? I'm out of here. See ya. Never again. And I left there. Yeah, demonetized. I'm not going to get demonetized over that. So when you deal with a Farm Service Agency like that, now, here's my point with the Farm Service Agency. As a farmer, I farm a lot of different properties. I live in the Garden State. I have property owners. I filled out a farm assessment paper the other day for 4 acres. Okay. So, I mean, Zach, would you go into a 4-acre patch to grow corn? I don't think you could get your corn planter in there. It's crazy. So there's a hillbilly in a wood pile. So, yeah, there you go. That's the same thing. But yeah. So, I mean, I saw, all right. So there's people out there that I farm their property and like, are you going to put my property into a government program? And I always said, well, when I was doing the Farm Service Agency thing, Farm Service Agency isn't there to help. And I really fucked them because when I left there at that time, I pulled about 2,000 acres out of the center of her map because it was all signed up. And I paid for for that. So anyways, I've had a lot of property owners say, please, you can farm my property, but I don't want to be in any government program. I don't like the government, So what am I supposed to do? Do it in secret? Forge their signature? I don't think so. Yep. Yeah. So anyways, and I don't think the government has a right to tell me that I have to sign up every single property. I just don't think so. Where's the freedom in that? We're not free anymore, obviously. But what do they even do? Well, I will tell you what the Farm Service Agency does, bins you asked. Now, most farmers may not understand this or may not care, but it is our duty as good little farmer boys and girls to go sign up your crops so that the government knows where the food source is. Okay, that'd be great. Okay, there's so many thousand acres of corn planted in New Jersey or the country. There's so many thousand acres of beans. There's so many thousand acres of wheat. There's so many thousand acres of soybeans and whatever. I think I've repeated myself. So many thousand acres of each grain planted in the country. Hooray! We mark it down. We say, okay, so here we go. We know how much grain is potentially produced by the state's averages as they go, as it's reported. But that's not exactly what happens. You see, that's public information. All right. So the investors, yes, Wall Street, Chicago Board of Trade, all these guys, they look at the government's reports. Now, it doesn't have my name. It doesn't have Zach's name. It doesn't have Timmy Cornpicker's name. It doesn't have anybody's name. It just says there's however many million or billion bushels of potential or acres of grain or of corn that is produced or growing out in the field. And then the people in Wall Street, Chicago Board of Trade, all these guys can invest in that, buying and selling commodities. That's how that works. So they make a bunch of money. And if you really want to make money growing grain, just leave your corn planter in your shed. That's it. Just ride the commodities. I knew a guy that did it. He was a millionaire. He made good money doing that. So, yeah. So that's what the Farm Service Agency does. It just props up the economy through commodities brokers and, soy and meal pits. And, it's crazy. Now with I'm not making any racist jokes. So, yeah, but anyways, that's just the way it is. That's what the Farm Service Agency has turned into. Now, Doreen and other Farm Service Agency heads, they get incentive, I guess, or pats on the back, maybe awards, maybe a bonus. I'm not even sure, but I was told, and I don't know how true this is, so it's pure speculation or hearsay. But the more farmers that she can get signed up into this program, and it may have been a total out and out lie by her, the threats that she was, which I kind of have grown up a little bit in the last 5 years and have realized that she can't enforce somebody to sign up properties when they don't want to, because it's just not the American way. At least it wasn't when I was growing up. It may be now. But she gets the awards, the pats on the back, possibly the bonuses for the number of acres that she gets out there. Now, whether it's money allocated to her office that she can distribute to farmers by the acres that she has signed up in, the farm, in the programs, in the DCP payments or the direct and countercyclical programs and things like that. That money that she could allocate, that goes by her name. So, yay, Doreen, whatever, she allocated $40 million to farmers in Hunterdon and Somerset and Mercer counties in New Jersey. So, that's just a big plus on her side. Well, when I left there, I pulled 2,000 acres out of there. So there's a huge hole in the center of Hunterdon County that she lost. So she didn't get the money to distribute from that point forward because it wasn't necessary. So I cost her, and I'm okay with that. I don't care. It is about the money. It's always about the money. They don't give a damn about us. They give a damn about money. Now, I don't know how much money they make at the Farm Service Agency, but, I think the top person gets it, but who knows? Help, please friend me all I want. I will friend you back. Well, that's like 2006 language there. Friend me. I need friends. Job security. Correct. Nah, I got a headache. But anyway, yeah. Test dad question mark. Who is that? My next tractor? I'm not buying any tractors. This is as Zach had said in his video, which this went in many different directions than it should have. But it's just, this is the time to tuck in your wallet and don't pull it out unless you absolutely have to. And it's that way here too. Farm $5 again. Thank you. If the insurance company finds you are growing corn on unreported acres, they can cancel your policy on reported acres. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to grow corn again. This coming year, I'm going to grow about 200 acres of corn. That's just my plan. I've got a cheap source of fertilizer coming in, and I will be able to make money on corn. I am not reporting it to the Farm Service Agency. I'm not going on farmer welfare. I am not going to have crop insurance on it. I don't need it. I just don't care to get on that program. I know that that Zach from the Millennial Farmer, he wants, he's going to have a conversation on crop insurance subsidies. They made that so incredibly complicated. I mean, complicated. There's just invite to the wedding for $6.66, you devil. Anyway, yeah, right. So I might do a live stream on that one. I don't know. But the crop insurance used to be pretty simple. You went into the Farm Service Agency, you reported your acres, and then still waiting for us to grow grain. Like the videos Wes varied crops. Those are the best videos Wes has done. Okay, well, they're coming. They're coming. 200 acres of corn this coming year. I need to rotate some of this hay out. What are you doing?
I wanted to tell you I was going to go get new shoes because the ones I have are shot.
Okay, go get shoes, Tim. Enjoy. Don't get lost.
Are you in your underwear?
I am in my underwear. I am doing a live stream in my underwear. I'm not going to stand up though. It is like, oh my God, it's after 9 o'clock. I've been doing work and it's been rainy weather. The sun's shining right now, but I didn't get home until 10 o'clock last night from welding and stuff. If you watch my corn thief videos now, it's probably going to be jail time videos because I'm going to shoot that motherfucker next time he does that. I won't be growing corn on that farm. Even though that was a good farm to grow corn on. But yeah. So what was I saying about cheap fertilizer? Oh, yeah. As far as farms, yeah, I was talking about crop insurance. Crop insurance used to be simple. You signed up your acreage with the Farm Service Agency. Okay. You did. And honestly, any farm that I didn't report to the Farm Service Agency did not have a grain crop grown on. It was only hay. And I still had to buy that NAP coverage, which was never any payment coverage, NAP. So I haven't got, my mom and dad have the 50/20. I haven't picked it up. I'll get on to that though. Give me a minute. I'll have to go look at that. And I'll throw something up on Instagram. So anyways, it was real simple. You got the crop insurance, you filled it out, and that was it. You didn't have to pay until the end of the year, which was nice. And now, the last time I sat through a meeting on crop insurance, I turned to my father and I says, I am not signing up for crop insurance over this horse shit. You needed to have like 4 different things. It's like, okay, so here's your insurance company. This is one piece of pie, and this is another piece of pie. You have to have this, and then the Farm Service Agency is here. So this all has like 3 or 4 different things. I mean, could they put any more hoops to jump through so you could have crop insurance? And if you fuck up on one of them, guess what? You don't got it. And you still have to pay the insurance company. So, yeah. My wife used to sell and process crop insurance. It was a huge headache for her as well. Oh, God. Well, that used to. I bet if she tried to do it now, she'd be crying. I know. I never did it. I said, the hell with it. I'm not doing that. I think the last year we grew corn, I didn't even have crop insurance. I said, fuck them. I'm not doing it. Get back to milking over in England there, Sam Benbow. So yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up anyway because I got a lot of work to do. I got to put my pants on. I've got a funeral that I have to go to in an hour and a half. So that's why I'm not really in that big a hurry to put my pants on because I took a shower, but I have to shave and I got to change my clothes and go to just a memorial. It's at 11 o'clock. So ask your buddy over in Lancaster about crop insurance. He could have used it this year. Well, I don't know. Who's my buddy? Oh, the farming life? I don't know. Maybe what happened to him? Shave my legs. No, I don't do that. I need to shave my arms though. If you look at these things, I look like a friggin' gorilla. No. I do have my underwear on, yes. You want to see? You sick bastards. I'm sure someone's going to say yes. 8530 does not have a coffee maker in it. No, I don't have a. Lost a ton of his crops? Huh. Well, I don't watch his channel, so I don't know. Maybe I'll have to mosey on over there and pick up a video and see what he's got, but I don't, got flooded, I think. Well, there was a lot of rain out there. We had rain. Hell, we had 6 inches of rain here. And I got fertilizer on and it worked. Now, it was someone that Teresa works with. His daughter died, 49 years old, just croaked. All the low fields of corn and tobacco are gone. Great uploads on upgrades on the Westendorf. Oh yeah, the Westendorf. I actually have that video ready to go, and then I was watching the Millennial Farmers video, and I just figured I'd chime in on it. But yeah, don't hold your breath on making any money off of the government. Is basically the gist of this thing. $12 billion, and you're only going to see a few $1,000. You probably won't even be able to pay your fuel bill for what you lost. I mean, like they're talking 30%, 25 to 35% of their cost is gone. Our price is gone. If and this is a funny thing. Maybe they don't have this problem, but here on the East Coast, you can have a contract for $10 beans. I know someone has got a contract for more than almost $11 for their beans, and I think beans are now $7. The problem with that is these guys won't honor those contracts. They will. They'll just be like, well, we don't need it right now. And then they run it to the end of the contract. So they'll allow you to bring in, instead of 5 loads a week, they'll allow you to bring in 1 or 2 loads a week. And then when the end of the contract comes up, they'll be like, no, sorry, price has changed. And they've done that time and time and time again. I was a victim to that. Years ago. So, yeah. I'm not going to sell any upgrades. That nobody's going to build that thing because, to be quite honest with you, not that many people do what I do, and there's not that many people that are going to need a tractor with a loader on it that is that substantial. God, I wonder where my phone is. I've lost it. So, but anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I've had enough. It's I got a headache, and that's and I got to get dressed for this funeral. So, thanks for watching. You can comment, rate, and subscribe it if you want. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it. If you don't like it, you can hit the down button. I don't care. It's fine by me. And thanks for anybody that donated money. Mr. This Is Me Too. Hello from Mom's Kitchen. I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been? You usually have snarky comments and stuff. But yeah, Mom poison you in the kitchen or something? You been okay? Anyway, I got to go check the 50/20. Yeah. Save a farmer, eat bacon. Thanks for choice, Wes. Bacon. All right. Say hi to Teresa. Teresa, you down there? What are you doing?
Talking to Mercy.
Talking to her friend in the Philippines. They're getting flooded. Look up Alonga Post City floods on YouTube. You'll see some amazing stuff. And that's where she's from. Keep up the great work. No, she's fully clothed. She is fully clothed. So, but anyways, I gotta go. Have a good one. See ya. I got 4 new subscribers over that.